This episode of DefunctTV is sponsored by NordVPN. Log on to nordvpn.com/defunctland for a super cool special offer. On September 24, 1991, Theodore Seuss Geisel, known by his pen name Dr. Seuss, passed away at the age of 87. Geisel's work spanned many mediums and age groups, and he was most known for his best-selling children's books. Many of these works, such as The Cat in the Hat, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Horton Hears a Who, The Lorax, and Green Eggs and Ham became cultural phenomenons, a common staple of childhood that still remains today. However, Geisel himself was somewhat of a controversial figure, with the main point of criticism being his personal life, political views, perfectionist nature, and his well-known aloofness. The latter projected a public image of resistance to interaction with his main audience, but it also yielded positive results. Geisel's shunning of fame led him to reject licensing deals and commercialization of his characters, preserving the integrity of his works. Geisel once said, quote, "I'd rather go into the Guinness Book of Records as the writer who refused the most money per word." To be fair, Geisel did not necessarily need to engage in licensing deals, as by the time of his death, he had earned $500 million in book royalties alone. Shortly after his passing, his second wife, Audrey Geisel, began approving many of the licensing deals that Geisel had rejected. She claimed that it was necessary to strike these deals to ensure that the Dr. Seuss trademarks would be preserved. As evidence, she referenced many unauthorized Dr. Seuss products, such as a t-shirt featuring the Cat in the Hat smoking marijuana. Many trademark experts and acquaintances of Geisel spoke out against the commercialization, claiming it was unnecessary from a legal standpoint and that Geisel would have hated it. Despite the opposition, the Dr. Seuss brand was expanding, and not all of the new merchandise and products would be criticized. Some would even be praised for capturing the spirit and style for which Geisel was known.
Get up on a wubble, buzz into a bubble. Yeah!
Tighten up, get loose.
In the Wubbulous World, in the Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
The Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss premiered on Nickelodeon on October 13, 1996. The show was the first TV series based off of the characters from Dr. Seuss's books. The only other Seuss-based television show was Gerald McBoing Boing, a series that ran for one season in 1956, based off of the 1950 short film of the same name. However, this was mainly a compilation of other cartoons and did not feature any prominent Seuss characters. A few years after Geisel's death, Audrey Geisel reached out to Jim Henson Productions, who at the time was still recovering from the death of their creative leader. She approached them in hopes of making a Dr. Seuss series in the Muppet medium. They agreed, and the series went into pre-production. Around this time, news of the Seuss-Henson collaboration made its way to Nickelodeon president Herb Scannell. He asked them to present the production to him to potentially air on Nickelodeon. He claimed the pitch was one of the best he had ever seen, and the new series had a home at the channel, where it would premiere in Nickelodeon's new primetime night block. The Children's Network had been pushing for families to watch new episodes of their popular TV shows at night since the major networks had strayed away from family content and focused more on adult-only programming in the mid-90s. The Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss got its Seussian name from combining the words wonderful and fabulous. The show had a unique style that utilized groundbreaking technology for the time. The Jim Henson Company created between 80 and 100 puppets for the first season. These would act as the main subjects in the frame. The majority of the show would be shot on a blue screen, and the background for all of the shots would be manipulated in real time so it could move as the characters did. The new style was praised for its ambition, but some criticized its execution. Many of the models were crude, a necessity for the computer graphics systems of the 90s, but this resulted in few true curves and blocky-looking graphics. The lighting also wasn't the most dynamic, and it looked more like a computer game than a professional production. Worst of all, the blue screen spilled onto the fur of the puppets, and in most of the shots in the show, a distinct blue outline can be seen on the edge of the characters. The first season of the show was presented as an anthology series. Each episode would have a singular story written just for that episode. While it would utilize settings and characters from Geisel's work, the storylines would be original. Many episodes would also implement morals found in the original Dr. Seuss books. Each episode would begin with the show's theme, immediately followed by an introduction from the host of the show, the Cat in the Hat, performed by Bruce Lanoil. The cat almost plays the role of a trickster god in some of these stories. He can interact with the main storyline's characters, but his actions are mainly to push the story forward and rarely to help or teach the main character, often a small child. He is also all-knowing, and he's already privy to the story's world and how it will end.
This box isn't mine. How it got here, who knows? But one thing I do know is where this box goes.
The cat is often seen with little cats A, B, and C, who act as helpers and friends of the cat. Little Cat A was performed by Catherine Mullen, a puppeteer with a long history of working with the Jim Henson Company, notably for her work on The Muppet Show, Fraggle Rock, and a creator and puppeteer of Leona on Between the Lions. Little Cat B was performed by Stephanie DeBruzzo, known for her work on Sesame Street and Avenue Q. Little Cat C was performed by John Kennedy. Other recurring characters were the Grinch, Thidwick the Big-Hearted Moose, and Yertle the Turtle, all performed by Between the Lions puppeteer Anthony Asbury. Sam I Am and Horton the Elephant were also regulars, also puppeteered by John Kennedy. Each episode would implement musical numbers with original songs that would take advantage of the fun rhyming schemes of the Dr. Seuss books.
The mayor said whatever it takes.
That's right.
That's what you did.
With a little help from all my friends.
So Snoo, you're one smart kid.
Thank you, Seuss Snoo. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Seuss Snoo. Thank you, thank you.
The first season of the show consisted of 20 episodes and aired between October of 1996 and August of 1997. The first season received mixed reviews. It was praised for capturing the spirit of Dr. Seuss's works and for its clever humor and wordplay. However, some children complained about the show's darker tone and creature design, and the virtual backgrounds were criticized. This prompted Nickelodeon to make major changes for the next season of the show. The series was renewed for a 20-episode second season, which premiered on March 9, 1998. The show's format was completely new, along with a few other minor changes. Catherine Mullen moved on to other projects, likely starting pre-production on Between the Lions, and Leslie Carrara Rudolph, known for portraying Abby Cadabby on Sesame Street, replaced her. Also, Thidwick the Big-Hearted Moose no longer appeared in the show, despite Anthony Asbury continuing to perform his other roles. The biggest change was puppeteer Martin P. Robinson replacing Bruce Lanoil as the Cat in the Hat. The show's new format was apparent right away, with an entirely new title sequence and theme song.
Come on along, get up and let's shout hooray now!
We're gonna have a wubbulous kind of day now. Come on, cheer up. Okay.
This is the song to welcome you to the Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss.
After this, the show visits the Cat in the Hat in the all-new setting, the Cat's Playhouse. This is the home of the Cat in the Hat and the main setting for the show. The cat himself has changed a bit also. His snarky persona has been removed and replaced with that of a happy caregiver. He became a much more traditional host for a children's television show, helping side characters with their issues and teaching moral lessons.
It's a story from the Kingdom of Did. What kind of presents do you think a princess gets on her birthday? Well, let's find out!
The Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss seemed to go from families as their target demographic for Season 1 to young children and preschoolers for Season 2. Along with the changes to the cat, more little cats were added, confirming the existence of little cats A to Z in the Wubbulous World, although only A, B, C, F, G, N, P, S, and Z would be seen in Season 2. They all had their own unique little rooms on a wall in the cat's playhouse. Also, a character named Terrence McBird was introduced, and many of the problems the cat would solve would come from the small bird. With the new format, the cat had to rely on a special piece of machinery called the Wubbuloscope to see into the different areas of the Wubbulous World. These were Seussville, Jungle of Newell, Kingdom of Did, and Mount Crumpet. After looking through the device, a short story segment would play, with a similar style to the first season. These segments would tie into the episode's main theme. The episodes would implement original music numbers similar to the way the second season did, and each episode would end with Lit Shout Hooray, a goodbye song that was a reprise of the show's opening number.
So come back soon, and when you do, I'll have some new surprises in my hat for you. Just one last thing, and then I'm on my way. Let's shout hooray! Just shout hooray!
Season 2 of The Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss aired throughout 1998, with the last episode of Season 2 airing on December 28, 1998. The show would not be renewed for a Season 3. The exact reason is unclear. It could be due to the show's lack of popularity when compared to other children's shows at the time, and it also could have been the negative response to the show's change in format. A more speculative reason would be the show lacking the popularity of Disney Channel's Bear in the Big Blue House, another Jim Henson production that began airing in 1997. Moreover, it is possible that the Disney Channel show prompted the change in format that the Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss saw. Those that know both shows well can probably spot the similarities. A nurturing host that would greet the audience as a guest in their home, low-stakes problems presented by the various residents of the home that the host would solve, and a common goodbye song to end the episode. It should be noted that these elements were not invented by Bear in the Big Blue House, as shows such as Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood have been implementing them for years. But it is a bit coincidental that the show changed format after Bear premiered to rave reviews. The Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss would not be the end of the Dr. Seuss adaptations. In 1999, a new theme park named Islands of Adventure opened next to Universal Studios Florida. One of the park's opening day sections was Seuss Landing, an entire land based off of Geisel's work. In 2000, a new musical based on many of the Seuss stories and starring the Cat in the Hat called Seussical would debut to less than stellar reviews. That same year, a live-action adaptation of How the Grinch Stole Christmas starring Jim Carrey and directed by Ron Howard premiered in theaters. This film also received mixed reviews but was a box office success. This prompted the development of a live-action Cat in the Hat movie starring Mike Myers released in 2003. The film was a moderate success at the box office, but it was panned by critics and parents, especially for its inappropriate humor. Audrey Geisel despised the film so much that she announced that no more live-action Seuss films would be made. In 2008, the first animated feature film based on Geisel's work, Horton Hears a Who, debuted in theaters to critical acclaim. Since then, 2 more animated films have been created, with more adaptations planned for the future, including a new animated Cat in the Hat film. The Seuss brand has also produced 2 more television shows. The first was a Gerald McBoing Boing reboot that aired on Cartoon Network between 2005 and 2007. The second was The Cat in the Hat Knows a Lot About That, an animated show that premiered on PBS in 2010. This show, starring Martin Short as the cat, is targeted at teaching preschoolers science concepts. The show is still producing episodes as of 2019. The Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss was an interesting television show. It only lasted for 40 episodes, it does not have a thriving fan base, and it received mixed reviews both during and after its run. Its claim to fame seems to be the fact that it is considered one of the most faithful adaptations of Geisel's work since his death. The show is still available to watch online, and has been passed between a few streaming services. Perhaps a new audience will bring a new appreciation to the elaborate puppetry and great writing, and a new generation of families will visit the Wubbulous World of Dr. Seuss. Every device that you use to browse the internet has an IP address, and this IP address is used by your internet service provider to connect you to the World Wide Web. At the same time, this allows them to track your behavior, view and share your information, and worst of all for me, throttle your internet speed. My internet service provider recognizes that my computer uses a lot of bandwidth compared to the other devices on the network. As a result, they limit my connection, which is debilitating to my workflow. With NordVPN, I can hide my IP address from my internet service provider, taking away their ability to throttle me. This is just one of the many reasons to use a VPN, and there is no better way to take advantage of these than with NordVPN. Especially right now, because for a limited time you can get 75% off a 3-year plan at nordvpn.com/defunctland. This special offer makes your subscription just $2.99 a month, so you can browse securely on all of your devices. And for a short time, use the code Defunctland to get an extra month of NordVPN for free. Just go to nordvpn.com/defunctland and browse safer today.